The Cat-Harry engineering bay hummed with the low, resonant frequency that all their technology seemed to emit, a sound that made human bones vibrate uncomfortably. Melissa stood before the massive cylindrical structure, her work tablet clutched in one hand, while 7 Cat-Harry engineers observed her with their triple eye stalks swaying in what she'd learned was their expression of skepticism. "Human Melissa," chirped Chief Engineer Vaughn, his translation device rendering his clicks and whistles into flat mechanical English. "We have told you 17 times now. The quantum resonance core has been non-functional for 143 of your Earth years. Our finest minds have attempted restoration. It cannot be done." Melissa smiled. That particular smile Barack always said made her look dangerous. "And I've told you 17 times, Vaughn. I haven't looked at it yet." Barack leaned against a support column nearby, arms crossed, trying not to grin. He'd seen that look before, 3 months ago, when the entire human delegation's water reclamation system had failed and the Cat-Harry had insisted they'd need to wait 6 weeks for replacement parts from Earth. Melissa had fixed it in 40 minutes with spare parts from a coffee maker and a solar panel. The Cat-Harry had been perplexed. "The core is the heart of Station Gamma 7, Vaughn continued, his eye stalks drooping in what might have been sadness. "When it functioned, this station housed 4 million of our people. It provided unlimited clean energy, environmental regulation, artificial gravity without the spinning modules. Now we live in the outer rings in discomfort because we have forgotten what our ancestors knew." Melissa approached the core, running her hand along its surface. The metal was cold, covered in a millennium of dust despite the station's filtration systems. Holographic displays floated around it, all showing flat lines and error messages in the flowing Cat-Harry script. "What have you tried?" she asked. Vaughn's translator made a sound like a sigh. "Everything. We have replaced every external component. We have run diagnostics through every subsystem. We have consulted the ancient technical manuals. We have even—" He paused as if embarrassed. "Prayed to the old engineers. Did that work?" "No." Melissa circled the core slowly, her engineer's eye taking in every detail. Barack watched her work, recognizing the intense focus she got when solving a problem. They'd met at Istanbul Technical University, both in the mechanical engineering program. While he'd gone into spacecraft design, she developed an obsession with old machines. The older and more broken, the better. "The Cat-Harry are brilliant," Barack had told her when they'd received their assignment to Station Gamma 7. "Their technology is centuries ahead of ours in some ways." "Then why do they need us?" she'd asked. Now he understood. The Cat-Harry had advanced so far, so fast, that they'd forgotten how to think simply. "Barack," Melissa called out. "Remember Professor Yilmaz's first rule?" He laughed. "Check if it's plugged in." The Cat-Harry engineers' eye stalks swiveled toward each other in confusion. "Plugged in." Vaughn translated the phrase uncertainly. Melissa had found what she was looking for. A panel near the base of the core, sealed but not locked. She pulled her multitool from her belt, selected a flat edge, and popped the panel open. Inside was a rat's nest of crystalline conduits, all glowing faintly except for one thick cable that led upward into the core's base. She traced it with her fingers, following it to a junction box mounted on the wall behind the core. The box was hidden in shadow, forgotten, covered in dust so thick it had formed a crust. "What is that?" Vaughn asked, moving closer. "Your problem," Melissa said. She brushed away the dust, revealing a simple mechanical switch. It was in the off position. The engineering bay went silent except for that omnipresent hum. "Impossible," Vaughn whispered. "The schematics show no such primitive mechanism." "Because whoever drew your schematics," Melissa said, gripping the switch, "probably assumed everyone would know about the emergency shutdown. It's a safety feature. If something goes catastrophically wrong, someone hits the kill switch. The core shuts down to prevent damage. But for 1,000 years. Melissa shrugged. Maybe someone panicked during an emergency. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe someone sabotaged it. Doesn't matter now. She looked at Vaughn. "Do you want me to try it?" All 7 Cat Harry engineers had their eye stalks fixed on that simple dust-covered switch. Vaughn's stalks trembled. If you are wrong, nothing happens. If you are right. If I'm right, you get your station back. Vaughn made a sound his translator couldn't parse, then spoke in formal Cat Harry. The other engineers backed away as if giving the moment ceremony. Finally, he turned to Melissa and simply said, "Try it." Melissa flipped the switch. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Burak held his breath. The Cat Harry stood motionless, a feat of stillness their species rarely achieved. Then the quantum resonance core hummed. It started as a vibration beneath their feet. Then it grew into a sound, not the flat drone of Cat Harry technology, but something musical, harmonic, alive. The holographic displays erupted in cascades of data. Lights flickered on throughout the cylindrical structure, racing from bottom to top in waves of brilliant blue and gold. The entire station shuddered as systems that had slept for a millennium awakened. Somewhere in the distance, Burak heard a sound like thunder as the gravity generators in the central hub activated. Vaughn's translator was silent, but Burak didn't need it to understand the emotion in the Cathary's keening cry. The other engineers joined in, a chorus of joy and disbelief. Melissa simply dusted off her hands and smiled at Burak. See? Just needed someone to flip a switch. As alarms began chiming, happy alarms, Burak thought, announcing the return of power, Vaughn approached Melissa. His eye stalks performed an elaborate gesture she'd learned was the highest form of respect. "Human Melissa," he said, his voice thick with emotion even through the translator. "We have been calling this station Gamma 7 dead. Tonight we rename it. We will call it Melissa's gift." She shook her head. "Just call it Gamma 7 alive. And maybe," she added with that dangerous smile, "check all your other broken stations for switches someone forgot about." Burak laughed. And even the Cat Harry made sounds their translators rendered as amusement. In the end, humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't their weapons, their courage, or their technology. It was their ability to look at the impossible and ask the simplest question. Did you try turning it off and on again?